Chadwick, the Kate Conundrum. Dude, this TV show is hilarious. Doug's infectious laugh filled the room as he sat next to Chadwick watching an episode of Snickerdoodle Presents The Clown Hour. It was a TV show hosted by the world's saddest clown and aimed at 5-year-old children. And also apparently Doug and Chadwick. The two were hunkered down in Chadwick's man cave, which used to be his mother's sewing room that he simply took over. The room was very hazy and dark, and for some reason everything was funnier in the man cave. Chadwick looked at his phone, noticing a message. He turned to Doug. "Brah," Chadwick said. "Stinkleman's having a party at his house tonight. We should totally show up." Stinkleman was Nelson Finkelman. Nelson attended high school with Chadwick and Doug. Nelson was the president of the science club and had the second highest GPA in the school. He despised Chadwick and Doug and everything they stood for. While Nelson may not appreciate their surprise attendance, everyone else at the party would be more than excited to see the two buffoons show up. Nelson, who had graduated college with a degree in chemistry, had bought a house in Red Lawn Cove, his hometown. Nelson very much had his life together. He had a job, a house. He dressed nicely. He even had the early stages of a relationship brewing. This relationship Nelson had would become one of the biggest issues that Chadwick would have to deal with. Nelson's house had filled up with guests. A few of his friends from work had shown up, pocket protectors included. The party was very mundane when the door finally opened. Two figures walked through the door, making their presence known. The first figure was an astonishing 6 feet 8 inches tall. She had long flowing black hair that flowed over her muscular frame. Her name was Eva Johansson. She was a foreign exchange student from Switzerland who had migrated to the U.S. Standing next to her was the polar opposite. At 5 feet and weighing roughly 110 pounds, with her blonde hair in a messy bun, she was the antithesis to Eva. She was Catherine Ashton Dunn. To her friends, she simply was Kate. Her energy and spark filled the room with joy. Nelson saw her and immediately ran up to her and Eva. "Kate, my darling, I'm so glad you could make it. Please, come in. Have a drink." You too, Eva, I guess," Nelson said with a smile. His focus was Kate, as he had been courting her for the past 6 months. For the next 45 minutes, Nelson wouldn't leave Kate's side, trying to impress her in every way he could. His stories about work and the experiments he was doing, told in great detail, may have been impressive to his coworkers. Kate and Eva? Yeah, not so much. Kate and Eva managed to slip away from Nelson and have a quick chat. Eva leaned down to Kate and whispered in her ear with her own unique accent, "Nelson is bore. When we leave this crap show?" Kate looked up at her with a smile. "Yeah, this does kind of suck, but he's such a nice guy. He's trying so hard. I would feel bad bailing right now. Can we wait a little bit?" Kate pleaded with Eva. Eva smiled at her and nodded. Kate never wanted to hurt anyone's feelings. And she did appreciate how hard Nelson was trying. The party heard an engine shut off outside. Everyone stopped. Who was here? Everyone who had been invited had already shown up. They heard two sets of footsteps walking towards the door. They heard uncontrollable laughter. The door sprang open, and no one's life would ever be the same. Stinkleman, killer party! Chadwick hollered as he walked in. Doug followed behind him, kicking his shoes off, with one landing in the spinach dip that Nelson had made. Nelson, with his blood boiling, walked over to Chadwick and Doug. What are you doing here? Nelson asked. Bruh, party. Duh, Chadwick responded as he scooted past Nelson and started talking to people. Nelson was getting ready to call the police when Kate snuck up behind him. Nelson, just let them stay. It's fine. High school's so long ago. I'm sure they've changed, Kate said softly. Nelson nodded and let them stay. This was what we call a huge mistake. It took a mere 30 seconds for everyone to see that, as it turned out, Chadwick and Doug had not really changed at all. Chadwick turned Nelson's stereo on full blast and proceeded to get his scientist friends to partake in the world's strangest performance of the Macarena. Kate, watching Chadwick, could not believe how carefree he was. What a fun dude, Kate thought to herself. And that is why, at least in my opinion, you should not hook a car battery up to a bike, Doug proclaimed, finishing up a thrilling story about his past to some of Nelson's co-workers. They all laughed, enjoying Doug's company. Nelson was stewing in the corner. How did these two idiots show up and take over his party? He went to his bedroom and shut the door. Nelson was done with his own party. Eva was looking for a drink. A cooler in the middle of the floor had various thirst-quenching beverages, but all Eva wanted was water. She casually reached into the cooler and pulled out someone's hand. Eva looked up at the hand and then moved her eyes up. Shit. Okay. Eva looked at the hand and then moved her eyes up, coming face to face with Doug. There was a moment of silence, just like time had stopped. So, oh my, I'm so sorry. Here you go. Have some water, Doug stammered as he handed Eva a bottle of water. Doug, trying to break the silence, spoke again. You're Eva, right? We went to high school together. We had philosophy together? Mr. Tress? Do you remember? Eva did, in fact, remember. He had been her favorite part of that class, always making it entertaining. She smiled. You, Doug. Eva remember well. Funny man. How been? Eva asked. Doug, stunned she remembered him, stammered on. Oh, me? Oh yeah. Good, real good. I have a trailer right now. I'm delivering pizzas. I spend a lot of time hanging out with Chadwick. I see you and Kate are still close? Doug asked, trying to seem cool. The two spent the next 30 minutes talking and reminiscing. The sparks were flying. Things were about to turn into an inferno. But for the time being, things were great. Where did Nelson go? Kate wondered. Since those two guys from high school had shown up, she couldn't find him anywhere. Kate was standing in Nelson's kitchen under a very bright light. Chadwick was in the living room, standing on a table telling a story about surfing. Kate turned her head and saw him. There he was, this muscular, carefree figure with a beacon of light shining on him. Whoa, he's really cute, Kate thought. Chadwick looked into the kitchen. He saw a light beaming down on Kate, who was staring at him. Whoa, an angel, Chadwick thought to himself, despite his clear lack of religious beliefs. Time stopped as the two stared at one another. Chadwick quickly jumped off the table and walked over to Kate, never taking his eyes off of her. He stood in front of her, their eyes locked. Chadwick looked down at her, unsure of how someone could look so awesome. Kate looked up at Chadwick, seeing more than just an idiot buffoon. Finally, Chadwick spoke. Brah, you're Kate, right? Like we went to high school together and stuff, Chadwick said, unsure of himself. Kate smiled and cleared her throat. Oh yeah, I'm Kate. I'm shocked you remembered. You're Chadwick. Everyone knows you, she said. What are you and Doug doing? You guys want to hang out with me and Eva? Chadwick turned and saw Doug and Eva laughing and talking. He turned back to Kate. Oh, yeah, totally. Do you have a car? Because we rode here on Jethro, Chadwick said. Ah, Jethro. He still rides that dirt bike? Kate nodded, chuckling to herself as she recalled the time Chadwick rode Jethro through the halls during homecoming. Eva drove, but we can follow you guys, Kate said with a smile. Yeah, or you can ride with me and Doug can ride with Eva, he offered. Kate smiled and then nodded in agreement. Doug gladly agreed to Chadwick's terms and hopped in the car with Eva. While Eva was huge, her car was hilariously pocket-sized. She drove a small, black Honda Hybrid. Doug managed to fit himself in the passenger seat. Eva, with her knees nearly in her chest, smiled at him. Doug Bear hardly fit in car, she chuckled. Hey, you're struggling as well. Why don't you have a bigger car? Doug asked. Many good gas mileage. Car great, Eva said. Doug nodded at her, kind of understanding. Doug took a deep breath before speaking carefully. Eva, you're awesome. You were awesome in school, and you still are. We should hang out more, Doug said, his tone scared and unsure. Eva smiled. You ask Eva to be friend girl? Eva asked. Doug, confused, still nodded. Yeah, I think so. You mean girlfriend, right? Doug asked. Eva, laughing, nodded at Doug. Is this thing safe? Kate asked. Chadwick looked at her. Yeah, he replied. Just hop on the back and hold on. It's no big deal. Doug does it. Kate hopped on the back of the bike, wrapping her arms around Chadwick and holding on for dear life. As Chadwick drove into the night, Kate had a fluttering feeling in her stomach. Was she hungry? Sick? What was going on? As she pondered her issue, it hit her like a baseball to the head. Oh my word. I have butterflies from Chadwick, Kate realized. She tried to ignore her feelings. She was dating Nelson. Wait. Was she? Or were they just friends? She never felt this way for Nelson, even if he was a sweet guy. Ignore it. Just ignore it, Kate thought. If I ignore it, everything will be fine in the morning. Just have a fun hangout with these two and Eva. Kate's mental gymnastics were a thing to behold. They also, as we would later learn, were not going to help what had already been started. They pulled up to a quiet beach. It was a small beach that Chadwick and Doug had been visiting since they were 7 years old. It was well hidden and always empty. The four parked their rides and walked towards the beach. Eva and Doug were holding hands as they walked. Chadwick turned and looked, lowering his glasses as he spoke. Brah! Doug! Awesome! Chadwick said as he nodded at them. Kate was taken aback. Wait, you guys are a couple? Kate asked. Doug, now bright red, nodded sheepishly. Eva smiled and spoke. Doug Bear and Eva a thing, Eva said confidently. Doug and Eva sat down next to one another, watching the stars and talking. Kate sat down staring at the beach. A shiver ran down her spine. Before she could even think about it, Chadwick had wrapped a blanket around her. He smiled at her. It gets cold out here. I always have a blanket on Jethro, Chadwick said as he sat next to her. Kate wrapped herself up and smiled at him. So, Mr. Chadwick, what do you do? I remember you from school, and you always seemed like nothing bothered you, Kate asked. Yeah. Right now I'm living at home. I surf a lot and I go to the beach. Also, I hang out with Doug quite a bit, Chadwick replied. While most people would embellish their life story, that was not Chadwick. He was who he was, with no apologies. Kate looked at him. How could someone be so real? How could someone just be themselves? Kate wondered. That sounds just like what you did in school? I'm working as a waitress and helping my father. He has a heart condition and he's really struggling, Kate said. Chadwick, looking into her eyes, was hanging on her every word. When I talk to Nelson, he half listens, Kate thought. Chadwick was a better listener? How? I remember your dad, Marcus, right? Me and Doug helped him fix an engine when we were like 15. He's a cool dude, he replied. Kate and Chadwick talked for 2 hours straight, telling stories and talking about their lives. Eva and Doug had left, with Chadwick agreeing to give Kate a ride home. It was 2 a.m., and the moon was glowing over the ocean. Kate, smiling, had never felt this way before. She was relaxed and happy. She was herself completely. Chadwick, this is such a beautiful beach, such a beautiful view and a beautiful night. I had no idea you were like this. I always assumed you were a caveman based on how you and Doug acted, Kate said with a chuckle. Chadwick laughed. Bruh, we are cavemen, Chadwick said while laughing. The two laughed as they stared at the ocean. The sparks had more than flown. The question was how hot the flames were and who was going to get burnt. Kate picked up her phone, checking the time. 3 a.m.? How? Kate turned to Chadwick. It's 3 a.m. I really need to get home. Can I get that ride? She asked. Bruh, absolutely, he responded. Chadwick stood up, reached out his hand, and helped Kate up. As they walked the 5-minute walk back to Jethro, they talked and laughed. Kate never wanted this to end, but she knew it had to. She looked at Chadwick. Hey, Chadwick? I just want you to know that I have a situationship thingy going on with Nelson. I'm not sure what it is, but I want to be upfront about it, Kate explained. Chadwick nodded. Bruh, we're just two old friends hanging out. No worries, Chadwick said, reassuring Kate. How is he so laid back? Kate wondered. As they continued their walk, Kate heard a noise, turning quickly to see what was behind her. As she turned, her hand ended up landing directly in Chadwick's palm. She turned and looked at him. The two made eye contact with electricity running through their hands. Chadwick quickly pulled his hand away. They walked back to Jethro, hopping on and heading towards Kate's house. As they drove, Kate found herself latching onto Chadwick even harder than before. How did this happen? She asked herself. Fate. Fate is a weird thing. It brings people together. It also tears people apart. This was fate. An inescapable fate for everyone involved. Everyone would be affected by what was going to happen. But in this moment, for this fleeting second, nothing bad was happening. Kate just felt safe and happy. Why? How could this guy who she hadn't seen in years make her feel this way? While at the same time, the guy that had been trying to date her for the past year made her feel none of those things. Could she ignore this? Forget it ever happened and try to be happy with Nelson? No, she could not. And she knew it. She had made up her mind. She was going to see if this was what she thought it was, or if it was just a weird night. Kate had her plan, and the world was about to change. Forever. Chadwick pulled Jethro into Kate's driveway. He stepped off Jethro. Her head was still spinning with the way the night had unfolded. He reached his hand out to help her. She gladly accepted his hand, and he helped guide her off Jethro. Brah! I hope you had a wicked night, he said to her. Kate stood still looking at him. Hey, Chadwick? Kate asked. Brah, sup? He casually responded. This night was... it was awesome. I wasn't expecting to have such a fun time. Look, I need to know something, she said. Yeah, sure. What do you need to know? Chadwick asked. He thought Kate was cool, but was oblivious to what she was feeling. He was busy wondering if Dennis would be up to make him a grilled cheese when he got home. As he pondered this, he noticed Kate staring at him. As their eyes met, Kate reached up, grabbed Chadwick's face, and leaned towards him. Kate kissed Chadwick, full sending it. While caught off guard, he responded by kissing Kate back. What was intended to be a small peck by Kate turned into a 45-second kiss. Kate pulled away slowly from Chadwick. Oh no, Kate thought to herself. The kiss was equivalent to 14,000 fireworks going off at once. Kate looked at Chadwick. She could see that he felt it as well. She let go of his face. Oh. Wow. Okay. Have a good night, Chadwick, she said as she walked towards her front door. How did this happen? It's Chadwick. How could she feel this way about him? The bigger issue? What was she going to tell Nelson? Did Chadwick even feel the same way? Kate walked through her front door with a million things running through her head. Chadwick, on the other hand, was in a totally different spot. He watched Kate walk away, recalled the moment they just shared, and then spoke out loud to no one other than himself. Bruh, neat. Chadwick hopped on Jethro to drive home. He was still hungry. He reached into his pocket and grabbed a River Rage, chugging it as he drove down a random sidewalk. This was when he finally started to think about what had happened. Did Kate like him? Why did she kiss him? Chadwick was pretty sure that she was dating Nelson. But Nelson kind of sucked, Chadwick thought to himself. As he rode Jethro home, his mind wandered away from Kate and more towards the grilled cheese he was craving. He pulled Jethro into the driveway, hit the garage door opener, then pulled Jethro right into his parking spot in the garage. He walked in the door. Dennis was asleep. Weak, Chadwick thought. He was still hungry. He then did something he'd never done before. He turned on a burner on the stove and put a pan on it. He then procured bread, butter, and cheese. Chadwick made his own grilled cheese. When he bit into it, it was amazing. Either Dennis sucks at cooking or I'm the greatest ever, Chadwick thought to himself. Amelia and Elvin awoke in the morning. They greeted one another before plodding towards their kitchen, wondering what kind of issues Chadwick would present to them today. Good morning, sir, ma'am. What do you like for breakfast this fine day? Dennis asked them. Eggs and bacon like always, Elvin replied. Amelia had a strange look on her face. She looked at Dennis. What did our son break last night? She asked, afraid to hear the answer. Oh, that. Nothing. Jethro's in the garage. Mr. Chadwick is sleeping soundly. I had to wash a pan, so it appears that he cooked for himself and did not burn the house down. Dennis responded flatly. Amelia and Elvin were stunned. No damage? No issues? What had happened last night? Where was the son they were used to? The two ate a quiet, relaxed breakfast for the first time in 24 years. Kate woke up at 8 o'clock a.m. After helping her father, she decided to call Eva. The phone rang 4 times before Eva picked up. Kate, this Eva. What up? Eva asked. Just wanted to see how things went with Doug last night. You guys really seemed to hit it off, Kate responded. Doug Bear, good guy. Also very cute. How go with Chadmanwick? Eva asked. Oh, yeah. We just talked and whatnot, Kate replied, trying to sound casual. Eva could sense Kate trying to be coy. Eva think that not true, she responded. Okay, look, don't tell anyone. It was amazing. He's such a relaxed, fun guy. All night I felt sparks. And when I kissed him goodnight, it was like fireworks going off, she happily recalled. Kissed? Eva asked. What about other men? I don't know. I need to talk to him. I feel bad either way. Nelson is such a nice guy. Chadwick is just amazing. I will talk to Nelson. I don't know what to do, Kate replied. Chadwick woke up at 11 a.m., earlier than he had in many years. He walked downstairs and said good morning to his parents. He walked into the kitchen and made himself a grilled cheese. Alvin and Amelia watched on, absolutely stunned. Chadwick, are you feeling okay? Amelia asked. Brah, I'm fine, he casually responded. Amelia and Alvin looked at one another, shrugged, and went into their living room. Alvin sat in his favorite recliner. See, dear, I told you he would grow up, Alvin said with a smile. Darling, one grilled cheese and being up before noon does not count as growing up, Amelia said with a smile. Chadwick had no idea why he was acting how he was. He simply felt like he always did. But at the same time, something was different. This thing that had occurred was going to change everything. Kate, on the other hand, was stuck between two sets of feelings. While she wasn't official with Nelson, he had spent so much time trying to date her. For Chadwick to come in and swoop her away, was that fair to Nelson? Kate didn't know. This situation had now become a problem, larger than either of them could ever imagine. No one knew Nelson as well as they thought they did. They also did not know what he would be willing to do. Chadwick, as he chugged a River Rage soda, was oblivious to the Pandora's box that he had just opened. However, he would not be in the dark for long.